Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back, Matthew Watty's channel. So today is Monday. That means time for a real chat. So, where do we leave off? Last time we were discussing Raytheon. Now, Raytheon Missile Systems, as I said, was a company that's famous for its missile-guided systems. And, that's where mortars go up in the air, and these missile systems shoot them down before they're able to hit their target. Now, I said before, Raytheon, probably one of the most important companies I've ever worked for, probably one of the most important companies in the world, period. And it probably was the only company I was willing to relocate out of state for. And all the additional benefits, it really was my dream job. Dream company. And hell, it helped me get this dream house. But I have major OCD. And because of the OCD, I mean, think about this. I bought my house in Texas in 2010. In 2 years, I had that house paid off. Yes, I was working as an overseas contractor, and that really helped. But, coming into Kentucky after not having to pay a mortgage for the previous 5 years, and having to, pay 3 times as much as what I was paying on my house back in Texas. Well, maybe not 3 times, but more than double. It just I didn't like that. I do not like having bills. I don't like owing money. So, kind of seeing the writing on the wall at Raytheon. My boss, my manager Scott, was constantly trying to get me to a point where I'd either quit or get fired. And, that plus the fact that I was not earning the amount of money I thought I was. So, because when I estimated my take home, I was estimated to be like $5,000. And it was about $3,000. So, when I bought my house based on, what I estimated my net pay to be. So I decided, you know what, let's go back to Afghanistan. I sold my house in April of 2018, so that netted me about $100,000 more, and I was hoping to go back to Afghanistan, make enough money over about 2 or 3 years, and come home with my house here paid off and possibly some additional money in the bank. So in December 2018, I officially resigned from Raytheon and joined AC First. One of the biggest mistakes of my entire life. That company is about as garbage companies are. I don't know any other nicer way to say it. Here's the thing. Having contracted for so many years, and you know what? When you're in Afghanistan, you're going to run into several different employees from several different companies. As I said, contractors, they talk. They talk to each other, and you know which companies are the good ones. You know which ones are the bad ones. You know which ones are bad based on all the employees you talk to and, their comments. You see how they are around the workplace. They're sluggish. They're bored. They're not interested. And you gotta see face value. If I'm doing a turn-in or something, and kind of seeing the process, how long drawn out it is, and how long it takes for them to complete their task, that tells me all the things I need to know about a company. And I never once heard any positives from any employee about AC First. Again, AC First was a so in the early going of the Afghan war, AC First was actually 2 companies, A for AECOM and C for a company called Khaki. Eventually, Khaki separated from AECOM, and so it just simply became A for AE and C for Com. So that's all it is. AECOM and AC First are generally the same thing. It's just like a sister company of AECOM. Pay was, especially for being in Afghanistan, pay was terrible. There were some positives. which revolved around bonuses and end of contract R&R. So that was something, but I never even got the opportunity to see that. So generally, when you start an overseas contracting job, you go to whatever city. For like me with Mantech, I went to Chantilly, Virginia. With Lockheed Martin, both times, even with AECOM, I went to Fayetteville, North Carolina. And, that's how you go through in processing with the company. You get your military ID, go through, your dental, and get all that stuff done while you're with the company going through orientation. That's week 1. Week 2, you go to CRC in Fort Bliss, Texas. And then you complete all of the military requirements while going through processing and training and all that. For AECOM or for AC First, they just sent you straight to Fort Bliss, so you never get opportunity to meet any of the bosses or learn about the company or anything like that. From there, when we got to Afghanistan, we were in Bagram. So Bagram, Afghanistan. And I've been through Bagram a million times before. I've never been a fan of Bagram. I know it's like the most synonymous name with Afghanistan. Like, you don't even have to be military service member to know Bagram and Kandahar, because they're all over TV and everything. So Bagram is like the major hub, though, in Afghanistan for military and for contractors. So, unlike working for Special Forces, which I had been, over the last several years, you basically get to make your own time for the most part. As long as your job gets done, you're taken care of. Military, they'll hook you up with, knives and Gerbers and just, cool guy stuff. AC First supported regular military, or regular army. And we ran the property books. That means all of their property book items, such as vehicles, computers, electronics, radar system, whatever, weapons, that all was on their property book. And, we were, I guess you'd call it brigade level or PBO level, property book officer level. So we finished the processing to basically remove items off their list, or, via lateral transfers or turn-ins, etc. This is the type of company where if they say the hours start at 7 o'clock, you got to be there at 7 o'clock. God help you if you walk in 1 second later. They had 11-hour shifts. So the way the contract worked for them, they did, were they 60? No, I still think they were 72-hour contracts, 72 for the week. So, I'm trying to remember. It was 2019, but I still can't remember. I think most days were 11-hour work days. Like Monday through Thursday, and Saturday was 7 to 7:30. And the fact that they charge you for the lunch, that kills me. I've never had a company charge, while on deployment that is, I've never had a company charge you for a lunch break. So you're working 12 and a half hours a day, and you have an hour lunch, you get 11 and a half hours. So 11 and a half hours, 5 days, 55, plus the additional, 5 days, so 2.5 hours, 57 hours, something like that. So, alright, so there's that, and then Fridays and Sundays were so stupid. Fridays and Sundays, you had a split schedule, so you come in at 11 o'clock. But lunch is at 12. So you're working for an hour and then you're going to lunch. So stupid. I didn't like their schedule. Their schedule sucked. The personnel. Oh my god, the freaking personnel. This is why I refuse to work for any other person. Why I want to be my own boss. I feel like every time I get to a new job, my boss gets worse and worse. It's so annoying. God. The worst thing about AC First is that you might have someone that was hired to to scan documents. Like literally, that was their job. We'd bring them a folder. They would take the papers, they would scan them, and they would save them to the computer. That was their record keeping. That was like, how is that a job? But and you had multiple people. That was their task. If you work for the company long enough, especially if you're a suck up, I mean, shoot, yeah, you're gonna get promoted. And you had people who start off doing that, and they get promoted to like senior supply technician. So a job I did in the military, a job I did many years in contracting. I'm actually someone who knows what I'm doing. This is my profession. This is what I've been doing for my entire adult life. And someone who's basically came off the street with no military background, no logistical background, are put into a senior position, my boss telling me what's right and what's wrong. I'm like, how do you guys know anything about this? When it's basically the people that work for you that are explaining to you and educating you on how to navigate the system and what documents do what. Does this is this a turn-in document? Is this a receipt document? Is this a lateral transfer? All that information. So you had non-qualified personnel in leadership roles. A lot of, and here's the thing, they got on me because I kept getting into arguments with the female employees. I'm like, dude, I don't care if that female is my boss. All right, that doesn't mean just because she's got a different gender. No, it's the fact that, especially when you got these women that worked in AC First. Not everybody. I had some amazing leadership over there. Who became friends and everything. But a couple of people that I specifically dealt with were just horrible individuals. I don't want to take up an entire 20-30 minutes just describing how bad. Just kind of like, what I could say is, when you come to work and you're already beat, like you're already demoralized, I feel like work, it should be something where, you come to work with a smile, happy, good morning everybody, talk to someone at the water cooler or something, you meet in the office and you share coffee or something. You get into work and you help each other out throughout the day, but that's not the lifestyle. Your work hours sucked. You were overworked and underpaid, which we already know. The bosses, one of my bosses at one of my areas, she did nothing but like literally she sat in a chair and like all day you'd look over at her and she'd be like spinning in the she'd be spinning in the chair. I just got the visual, man. But dude, that's your leadership. I mean, come on. I wish I had a camera and I filmed that stuff. I'm like, even just for my own laughter nowadays. I mean, or, she'd invite her friends over and they'd be braiding each other's hair. Again, I mean, that's not to criticize the female employees at AC First. That's just me criticizing select few who didn't know what the hell they were doing. Oh, God. Yeah, that was one leadership. Another boss. I started taking college when I got to Afghanistan in 2019, and I'd come in early, maybe an hour or two before my shift, like my Friday shift starts at 11. I would probably come in at like 9 o'clock, and I would do like midterms or finals. Or I would stay after work and work in the office, and I would do the electronic homework assignments, or I'd write my research paper or something. And for a few months there was absolutely no issue with that. All of a sudden we get a new a team lead, and like this, I couldn't even. They even had a gym built in our warehouse, and that we could have used. she even followed me into that damn little gym area and stopped me from working out after hours. I'm like, someone might argue, well, if you get injured and no one's there, it could be on the company. No. People work out in those areas all the time. It's never an issue. It's just this particular team lead, team chief, decided that she wanted to kind of, and she had a history of screwing everybody over. There have been people who worked for that company for years, and everyone knew her, and they all despised her. When you're that hated by everyone you work with, you need to find yourself a new profession. One of the funny things, when I was still with Raytheon and I was, going through the process of getting my passport submitted and shipped out so that they could, put the Afghan visa and all that stuff in there, and filling out all these documents and these doctor notes and stuff that was required. I forgot her title, but I remember her name because her name was Jenny Jones. And if you remember, there was a Jenny Jones talk show host, so I thought that was pretty awesome. And she was kind of like talking to me about some of the benefits of AC First, and to this day, it still kills me. Like when she's talking about living arrangements, oh yeah, you're going to live in a room with 8 people, but don't worry, you got bed sheets that you hang up for privacy. I'm like, what the hell did you just say? It's bad enough when you said that I'm going to be in a room with 8 different dudes. I mean, damn. Like, normally when you deploy, you either have a room to yourself or you have one roommate. You live in like a bedroom or you live in like a containerized housing unit or something. Yeah, it's like this big barracks layout. And, you got a hallway that leads from one door to the other door at the opposite end. And you probably have, these dividers. Like, it's divided with, like, cabinets or dressers. So this is your square. And then the next square and the next square. You probably got, like, 4 people on this side, 4 people on that side. And, yeah, people that come in, they take 550 cord or something and wrap around things, pipes or what have you. And they put up drapes or curtains or bed sheets. Big, thick wool blankets, whatever they've got for privacy. I'm like, that is so freaking stupid. I mean, this is your privacy. They don't even give you, like, if they actually built, and yeah, the company has the ability, because they got their own carpenters. They can literally go inside those barracks and build, like, wooden walls or something. Last thing I want to do is be sitting on my bed watching a movie and kind of be like, and kind of look up and see some guy's eye looking at me over the cord, because my cord kind of, when you put the weight on it with the blanket, the cord, goes from that to making like a little dip. And every time someone would walk by, all I would do is look over and I would catch their eyes staring at me. I'm like, that's freaking weird, man. So yeah, that was your living arrangement. Terrible. AC First had the worst living arrangements possible. Like I said, their hours, and you know what? They say lunch is 12 to 1. But I get caught up at work. I'm doing something, and I can't break away at 12 o'clock. I leave for lunch at 12:15. No biggie. 12:15 to 1:15 is your lunch. Nope. At 1 o'clock, if you're not back to work, you will be screwed with so badly. I used to bring my my DVD player into the warehouse during my lunch break, because I'd go to the DFAC and get me a to-go plate, and I'd sit there and I'd watch a TV show while I eat my food. And like I said, you don't always get to break away at exactly 12 o'clock, so I might not have left until like 12:45. So if I come back and it's like 1:15 and you see me eating out in the warehouse, why are you going to bother me? That's my lunch break. 1:15, sure, but you know what? It's not 15 minutes past. It's it's only 30 minutes into my actual break because I left late. But that's the type of personalities you deal with. People that are unreasonable, unsympathetic, unwilling to compromise. That's not a good leadership. Leadership needs to be able to work with their personnel. You need to establish a rapport, build trust, and leadership overall. Very few people in leadership for Macy First were actual decent people and actually knew their jobs. I like the fact that it was pretty divided. You had like 50% Easterners, 15% Westerners. So you got, nice little cultural inclusion, which was pretty awesome. Always fantastic people. You meet guys from like India, Bangladesh, what have you. Bangladesh, Nepal, stuff like that. Trying to think where else they're from, but bunch of Eastern employees, and like I said, some of the smartest, coolest people you ever deal with, and much rather work with the Eastern workforce over a lot of our Western employees, because you heard about what a lot of these employees were like. Now, the actual workers, the actual like non-supervisors, fantastic people. I mean, when you're talking about your peers, very little have I ever had any issues with my actual peers. It's just when you get into supervisors, they're just... I feel like every time you get a boss, they need to assert dominance or something over you. And I'm like, dude, when I was like 20 years old, getting railed, I shouldn't say that. It sounds weird. Getting talked down to and like yelled at by like, your non-commissioned officers and stuff, you're put up with it. When you get into military contracting, you're like a 25-year-old and your bosses are like 50 years old and stuff. You know what? You're still the young guy. You're still the kid. You put up with it. But man, by the time I got into my age 30, I'm like, you know what? I'm not a young man anymore. Do I still need to be putting up with this? And as I got older and older, I'm like, no, I'm not putting up with that crap. That's one of the reasons I left my last job at AECOM. Never deployed for such a small amount of time, but I wasn't going to stay with them because my boss was easily the devil. And in 2 videos from now, 2 Mondays, I guess, I'll be talking about AECOM to close out this portion of the Real Chat segment. AC First, like I said, I don't know what else I can really say about my experiences there. I had the same experiences that pretty much everyone else had. I was not surprised one bit about how bad it was. I had been hearing for years that AC First was a bad company. I already knew this. But sometimes beggars can't be choosers, and I needed an overseas contracting job. They had a job available. It was offered to me. I would have loved to have gone to like Lockheed Martin, or back to Lockheed Martin or Mantech, or see if Raytheon had overseas positions, but they weren't there. They weren't available. So I had to risk it, going and hope for the best. Hope I had a good experience. So I deployed in December 2018, and I wasn't planning on taking a single R&R. Reason being, you are paid on R&R, of course, but if you go the year straight without taking any vacation, you get an end of contract bonus plus the money. I think it was like, was it $7,000 or something like that? $10,000. You get some kind of end of contract bonus for AC First, which is awesome. And when you also consider the fact that you didn't take a vacation, you also cash in those hours as well, those vacation hours. So, by December 2019, I was looking to cash in somewhere north of 20 grand. And in August of 2019, I lost my job. 8 months into the contract, the asshole program manager, or what the hell he was, I don't know what his title was, but the jerk off couldn't even do the right thing and let me finish out the contract and just not extend an offer to me for the next contract. So that was just straight up BS. I lost all that money for nothing. And what sucks is when I came home, I didn't have a job or anything. I wasn't working, so up until from August until January of 2020, I had no job, which means all that money I earned while in Afghanistan was spent while I was unemployed. And it boiled down to the supervisors. I got moved from one site because I couldn't deal with the team chief who. And I said it to my peers. I said it to the senior. Well, she was senior. She was a SME, senior. I forget what her title was, but she was some kind of subject matter expert. And I told them, like, it seems like everybody's afraid to tell this woman she's wrong. Nobody wants to make waves. I mean, and that's why everybody gets away with being abused, is because nobody speaks up. And I spoke up in Raytheon. I got in trouble for that with Scott. I spoke up with AC First, and it eventually cost me my job. Everybody is so afraid, and it makes sense to me because every time I, defend someone or telling people, hey, wrong is wrong, and instead of adhering my advice or, looking into the situation, no, he's a problem, let's get rid of him type of deal. And I've never been a problem anywhere I've ever worked. But that's what I feel like. It's easier to terminate someone than to fix the problem. AC First is horrible at that. I don't know if they're still contracting overseas. As of 2020, when I was in Kuwait with Lockheed Martin, they did have a contract in Kuwait. So, but it's one of those companies where I hope the U.S. government looks at them and says, no, we can't have this. If you want to talk about a contracting company that does not deserve the military's business, AECOM. AECOM is terrible. Now, the actual AECOM company stateside, I don't know how it acts. All I can go off of is based on their sister company of AC First, and like I say, it's the worst company imaginable. Now, by time when we start talking about Acoma later on, Acoma Technical Solutions, Acoma might actually fall right alongside AC First. Acoma might actually be worse, maybe, but I'll let you guys decide when we start talking about Acoma in a couple of videos. Yeah, I never did keep in contact with any of my peers or anything like that, which sucks. One of the SMEs, she actually got a job in like Korea, and when I was working with Lockheed Martin this last time, back in 2020, 2021, I was able to actually find a way to get in contact with her, and I was in Kuwait, and I was able to talk to her on the phone, because they use the DSN phone lines, so government phone line, that helped. For those out there that have ever worked for AC First, or if you're interested in AC First, got a job offer from AC First, I can't say don't do it. Like I said, I mean, I was desperate, and I accepted a position with a company I knew was garbage. Like I said, you could only hope for the best, but definitely prepare for the worst. So that's my AC First rant. It kind of feels like, as I reflect on all of these events that happen with my different contracting companies, it's like, man, why do you stay working overseas if you've got all these bad experiences? And that's the thing, though. You will have some positive experiences here and there. Was AC First 100% bad? No. I mean, you hang out with your friends. You go get dinner together or something, that's something. It's just a lot of leadership, especially the higher executives. Like, I don't know what their titles were, program manager, theater lead, I don't know, but they just weren't good. I enjoyed working for the military. Our DAX, Defense, what was DAC? Department of the Army contractor. So they were DA civilians, or that's what it was, Department of the Army civilian. DA civilians almost had the exact same rights that the soldiers did, whereas contractors from like Lockheed, Mantech, Raytheon, AC First, SAIC, KBR, Dynacore, General Dynamics, all these different companies, they're just simply contractors. Civilian contractors, they're not Department of the Army civilians. Department of the, so DACs, they wear military uniforms, and like I said, they've got all basically the same rights as property book, primary hand receipt holders and whatnot, so 8 months of my life was, I feel like it was wasted. I was able to complete a ton of college courses. That's probably my biggest takeaway. Like, when I first signed up, I signed up for 3 courses, and heck, one of the courses, I pretty much finished the entire thing just before the class even started. And I kind of messed up. I actually signed up for 3 more courses, and thinking that they were going to start after my initial 3 courses, but like my first courses started in like end of January, and my next set started out in like the end of February. So simultaneously, I was taking like 6 classes at one time, and I'm like, dang. Luckily with online courses, you're able to like work ahead if you want and whatnot. So I was able to complete a lot of the initial coursework for my 3 courses. So I didn't have as much to do, as I moved on to the next 3. But yeah, I mean, those 6 courses were off the bat. And I think I took another course or 2. And with Central Texas College, I think I reached my limit for like the spring semester or something. So I couldn't sign up for any more courses. And then I had to like put in a waiver to take another course, which I did. And I didn't want to stop because I felt like if I had stopped taking classes, I was going to stop permanently. I was going to lose motivation to keep going. It's like when you go to the gym. If you go to the gym every day, you will continue going to the gym every day. If you go to the gym every day and then you miss one day, one day turns into 2 turns into 3, and at that point, you're basically done. You're not going to the gym again for like 18 months. So I felt this. I was feeling the same way about college. So I ended up going through Ashford University. Less weeks per course, and I think it was physically impossible for anybody to get anything other than an A in a course in there. So I was doing CTC and I was doing Ashford at the same time, and then I was just simply doing Ashford. And then later on, Ashford transitioned into the University of Arizona Global Campus. So I finished UAGC. No, well, I got my bachelor's through Ashford. But again, Ashford and UAGC is the same thing. And I got my master's from University of Arizona Global Campus, the following year. So October 2021, and then October 2020, and then October 2021. But that's not part of this chat. That's all, man. Like I say, I feel like college was the only thing worth going on that deployment. Couldn't really work out. Wasn't allowed to. And yeah, they had a gym you could go to, but that was like an extra distance. I'm like, forget it. At the end of a 12-hour workday, 12-and-a-half-hour workday, you're beat. So, and after work, I had to go to the MWR, and I'd be at the MWR like 10 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, doing homework. So, there really wasn't time for it. I put president on college, And, you know, it like I said, it suited me well. I was actually pretty successful. Alright, so I am no longer going to talk about this subject, as I will move on to Lockheed Martin in the next video. And in the follow-up video, we'll talk about AECOM technical solutions. And that will be it with my history of overseas contracting. After that discussion is over, I think someone asked me about military uniforms. I guess they saw my uniform in the storage room right here hanging up, and they saw the ribbons or whatnot, and they want to know about it. To be honest, I don't even remember what every single ribbon stands for, but yeah. I'll probably wait to do it on a real chat video or something, maybe. I don't know. But it'll probably be a few more weeks before I do that video. I'll just show off the military uniforms, the Class A's in particularly, and go over some of the ribbons, some of the awards I got. Alright guys, that's it for now. I'm talked out. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.